Good evening, and welcome to Sporlitics, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight is Aguna, the Nigerian moderate Republican, Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker, and my cousin Todd. President Biden authorizes the shooting down of a China spy balloon traveling over the continental United States. And today, the State Department held briefings in Washington and Beijing with foreign diplomats from 40 nations about the Chinese spy balloon that entered U.S. airspace in late January. IndyCar's Connor Daly is gunning to qualify for Daytona 500 with Mayweather's team. Stephen will talk about that. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan visited southern Turkey to see firsthand the destruction wrought by a massive earthquake as anger grew among local people over what they said was a slow governmental response to the rescue and relief effort. LeBron James breaks Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's NBA scoring record. We'll talk about that too. Britain announced an immediate surge of military deliveries to Ukraine to help it fend off an intensifying Russian offensive and pledged to train its pilots as Ukrainian President Zelensky arrived in London on a rare visit abroad. Roger Goodell from the NFL commissioner, just in case you don't know, calls for more progress in hiring minority head coaches. I just want to know, where's Colin Kaepernick when you need him?
He's not a coach.
Let's finish the job. President Biden said, let's finish the job last night during his State of the Union address. And the NBA trade deadline is tomorrow at 3 p.m., even though Kyrie Irving beat it by begging to be traded days ago. Florida weighs in on mandating, get this, menstrual cycle details for female athletes. And it's Black History Month. That and more, if we can fit it in. First up, Stephen, what was going on with that Mayweather team? Is that Floyd Mayweather, the boxer? Is that his team?
Yeah, that's Floyd Mayweather, the boxer. One of the best boxers to ever box. I don't particularly care for his style, but that's just a personal aside. But you can't deny he's 50-0. I mean, he's a great boxer. And another thing is his style kept him really healthy. So I can't say I don't like it. It's different from what I like just people going in there and putting their head first and just taking everything and giving everything. But he doesn't. He fades back and fades back. A little bit more like Ali. But he's great. He really is great. And he has a team now. It's called the Money Team because he's Money Mayweather, as most people know. And he's got a guy, kind of a young guy, 31 years old. He's got a lot of driving in front of him, at least maybe 10 years. And he drove for him last year at Charlotte and in the fall race and came in 34th out of about maybe 38. But that's not bad for a team that's fledgling and they're just getting everything going and they're trying to work something out with him. And he's not going to do the entire year. He's going to try to qualify for Daytona and 6 other races this year. And it's a good start. And and Mayweather has a lot of money, but he's going to understand that it takes a whole lot of money to get this going. And I think they're going to do really well. I think his group that he has with him and himself and his team is going to do well. And this kid, Connor Daly, his father used to race in Indy as well, and he's well known, and he did really, really well too. And I don't know if he has a part of the team or not, but it should be interesting. And I'm pulling for him to get in. And he's seems to be a really decent guy. Went to Christian schools. He seems like a good guy. He does have health issues. He has diabetes that he's trying to get under control, but he's turned to being a vegan and gave up meat And I don't know how much that has to do with diabetes giving up meat, because I'm not a doctor. I'd probably give up a lot of sugar. But whatever he's going to do and things he's going to try to do and to help him get his diabetes under control is good for me. I don't know, whatever works. Everybody tries different things and see if it works for them. So I'm excited about it, and I'm glad NASCAR is getting ready to start, and it'll be here before you know it.
You know, by the way, they claim that in diabetes, it's not necessarily sugar that causes it. So, you know, I don't know. It's a complicated thing.
So can you talk real quick about NASCAR, the Clash race? I'm trying to show you that screen, but they've got this other screen that I like to get off of my screen. It won't leave. I'll try to share it anyway. Okay, can you see it? They said Justin Haley. There's nothing for me to get rid of the screen though. I want to get rid of that little screen in the bottom, but it won't let me. I don't want tap for audio. I want out. I want it out.
Oh,
so you look at that, the Clash Heat race starting lineups. Heat 1 was 4 drivers who did not make last year's Clash: Alex Bowman, Eric Almirola, Chris Boucher, and Ty Dillon. And then Heat 2, they're talking about these races that were lineups in Los Angeles. It will start on their poll for the Heat races. This past Sunday they did it. How did that go?
It's like Keith asked, why is it on such a small track? It's just to bring people in, to bring in new people, new eyes, and to show them a little bit of what NASCAR is. Like, that's the smallest track they'll ever race on. It's bizarre. Like, it's hard for all these cars to get around together because the track is so little, and it's just a ring. It's almost like a ring light that you have in front of you. That's how big the track is. But it's fun. It's something to bring people in, and they had a different band come in, like hip hop or whatever, or something. I can't remember the name of the group, but they came in, trying to get a plethora of people to come in and be fans. As many fans as they can get. That's what they want, and that's why NASCAR does what they do, and they always want to get more people there and more people watching. And this was part of it. This is a good way to start the year. It doesn't count for points, doesn't count for anything. It's just for fun.
All right. So let's see if we can talk about NBA and LeBron James. He beat Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record.
Yeah.
Which was absolutely incredible.
And he's had the record for almost 40 years.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? If he had the record for 40 years, that means that no one else could break it for 40 years, basically. That's right?
Yeah.
That means that Kareem was a better player.
What?
That means Kareem was a better player than LeBron. Sorry.
But maybe Kareem wasn't going up against the kind of competition that LeBron goes up against.
Right. And that's what people were saying. So it says LeBron James, you see this yahoosports.com. LeBron James stands alone. Let me see if I can make it bigger. At the top, the Los Angeles superstar passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the NBA's all-time regular scoring record yesterday. And Abdul-Jabbar was in attendance at the Crypto.com arena to witness the defeat. And it says, despite the pair's rocky relationship in recent years. What's that about? They had a rocky relationship? I didn't know they had a rocky relationship. You know anything about that, Keith or Stephen?
I didn't know they had a problem.
Yeah, I didn't either. So it says Abdul-Jabbar scored 38,387 career points and held the record from April 1984, 8 months before LeBron James was even born. Can you believe that? Until Tuesday.
Wow.
That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever be broken.
He didn't give God the glory. But I don't know. Maybe they just, I don't know. He was an arrogant sort of fellow.
Yeah, whatever we think about him, you got to respect what the player he is. He's that
That's an
great.
incredible player, yeah. And I saw him say to his sons, "Do you think I should go ahead and do it?" And the son said, "Yeah." But I don't think the sons understood the magnitude, you know,
He wants to
of
play on
what
the
he
same
did.
team. He wants to play on the same team with his son.
I
Did you hear
know,
about
and
that?
he's 38,
Yeah.
so that's amazing.
He said he
That he's
feels
going to
good
be
and
able
his
to do
body's
that.
good. So at 38 is really not old if you take care of yourself, right, Keith?
Right. I'm 66 and I'm still training.
I know you are. Right.
Yeah.
So 38 is like almost half your age.
That's
Almost.
right.
Yeah. No, he can still do it. He can definitely still do it. So can you.
I still spar with my best student. He's 31 years old. I
Yeah.
spar with a 31-year-old. So he's my
Does he
sparring.
pay you? Does he pay you?
No, I pay him.
Do you? To
Yes.
spar with him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He's a good man. I like, he
That's
grew
cool. I was gonna say if you pay him, that's why he don't lay you out. Because you
up.
pay him to be there.
Well, I appreciate
So-
him not paying me out. I mean, but he says I'm pretty good for an old man. That's what he says. He calls me that.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt, Keith.
Yeah.
So with Kyrie Irving, he's set to debut today with the Mavericks. So Kyrie Irving, Keith or Steven, do you want to talk about how he begged to leave and he just kind of like deserted his team and he got traded to the Dallas Mavericks?
Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I heard he did that, but I didn't know why. Why did he not want to be on the team? Why did he hate his team and wanted to leave? I didn't even know that was an issue with him. Do you know, Stacy?
I know that he wasn't happy, and I know his team needed him really to make it to the playoffs and further, but now that he's gone, that kind of leaves them in the lurch.
Yeah, they're in trouble. I mean, was he not getting enough minutes? Was he not getting his shower wasn't hot enough? Something must have made him upset.
Well, I think I'll let when Aguna comes, I'll let him talk a little bit more about that because I know he'll want to, elaborate on the way he can on that part.
Shower, man, I don't like my showers cold. I like them
so hot. He's now going to play tonight for the Dallas Mavericks, and I'm waiting to see. I'm wondering how he's going to fit in with them. It should be a good fit, but I want to see how he's going to fit in with them in terms of being able to take or help them get to that next level.
Do you know how much practice he's had with them before this game?
I don't think much at all. Maybe a few days.
Yes. He's just going to go out there and just do what he does, I guess.
Well, he is a professional. I mean, it's not like it's me or you going out there and.
Yeah, but I know, but you have to kind of gel with your play. There's a lot of plays in basketball, just like football. So how's he going to know what plays do? He's just going to have to go out there and be like an independent kind of person and just try to mesh in the best he can, but do his own thing. I think I'm interested in seeing it.
Right. So Roger Goodell, let's move on to I forgot to put up what we were talking about too. Roger Goodell said that there ought to be more African American coaches in the league.
Why is that? Why?
The question is, he's calling for a hiring process with more minority head coaches. So I guess just not African American. It could be Latino, Native American, Asian, anything it wants to be. But the thing with that is, where was he when, I don't know, Colin Kaepernick was kneeling?
I don't know what that means.
Colin Kaepernick was kneeling, right?
Yeah.
And he was kneeling against injustices suffered to Black men in the United States by the police, right?
Yeah, I guess. And
he was talking really about injustices that Black men suffered at the hands of the police and injustices generally. but that in particular. So my
Yeah.
point is, why didn't Roger Goodell talk about the hiring plays or practices of the NFL at that time when the owners were blocking Kaepernick from going from team to team, and when President Trump was saying Kaepernick shouldn't be on a team? Where was Roger Goodell then?
Roger Goodell has been trying to do things to make it more equitable for decades, or however long he's been there. He's been doing this the whole time.
Why didn't he do that with, I don't know, Colin Kaepernick?
Well, why don't we get him to mandate who these owners hire? Maybe he puts the people there and says, "I want you to hire this person," and he does that now. And Kaepernick is.
Well, he
Kaepernick
doesn't do that. He never did that. He can't do that.
I know he can't do it, but that's what I'm saying. How can you be upset with him? He can't do that. He can't just put people there and say, you have to hire this person. What's he supposed to do? What's Goodell supposed to do about it? Nothing.
Well, then why would he make a comment like he did over the last few days saying that?
Right, that thing can't be white or whatever. Why don't you just want the best coach?
That's what I
maybe the best coach is a white guy.
Roger Goodell.
Huh?
Roger Goodell said it, not me. Why don't you ask him?
Right.
Why? I mean,
I'm just talking about it.
How many people actually see the owner? I mean, who knows who owners are? Right.
It's just conventional wisdom that this is all racist and they don't want to hire black people or women or I don't know, Asians, whatever. It's just like the world is supposed to be. The best people for the job, no matter who they are, what they are. It's just people.
I mean, do we live in the United States or not? It doesn't matter.
Not in the last few years. We haven't lived in the United States for a few years, Keith.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what
everything
I mean is
that the left has done. We're not living in the United States. They're trampling our Constitution. We still have people in prison from January 6th who haven't even been sentenced or anything. They're drinking brown water. They're not getting to be able to see their lawyers.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe you're coming up with that.
Well, yeah.
Coming up with political prisoners in the United States? Really?
Yes.
Where is there political prisoners on the left? Because if it is, I don't know where they are.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Right, Stephen.
I don't agree. I don't know why you're going along with him.
I'm
Because
saying that things have changed in the last few years in this country. They sure have, especially in the last 2 years.
Yeah, we're worried about what color somebody is who owns a football team.
Or a coach. We're worried about what color the coach is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, that's what your Roger Goodell is worried about.
Well,
he ain't worried about it.
Roger Goodell is not a Christian.
You're saying he's not worried about, he's just talking and blowing smoke up everybody's, you know what?
No, he's just saying what he has to say. Yeah, basically, Stacey, about right. He's just saying what he has to say. He has no power over it. There's nothing he can do. He can say, I want this. He can say he wants his own island on another country. That doesn't mean he's going to get it.
Right. Okay.
So, it's ridiculous.
Let me share my screen. Oh, I want to share my screen. The U.S. plans to stop buying.
Hey, Stacey, before you get off of sports, can I ask a question?
Oh my gosh. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to know about, there was in your, you sent me, they were talking about, what's his name? Not Fran Tark. I keep thinking of Terry Bradshaw.
Fran Tarkington.
No, Terry Bradshaw. He said the NFL is tough, and he was talking about, concussions. And he said that he had been knocked out many times, which is very interesting to note. He's a tough guy. He was from the old school, like I said. So I think I was right when I talked about that. I agree with him. He talked about that. And, if you think about it, which is more dangerous, the boxer, like Merriweather? I mean, how many times have men been knocked out with a punch?
So I don't understand what your point is.
My point is, people take the risk. Men take the risk because they want to take the risk, and we should allow that. Let them take the risk, whether they play football, or whether they get knocked out from play from boxing or whatever they do, they take a risk, and that sports can be dangerous. Some sports.
So you're saying you're saying because Terry Bradshaw said,
probably not. I'm gonna stay at home. I'm superstitious, so I'm not gonna go down to Arizona. But
thank the Lord.
I did want to come. Where's cousin Todd? Where are your cousins? I want to talk. I want to do a quick Super Bowl prediction before
They're not here, but can you talk about why Kyrie Irving begged to leave his team to go somewhere else?
I mean, he clearly there were some issues at the Nets that he didn't want to. He was ready to. It was like almost a mutual severance, if you want to call that, right? So yeah, he didn't want to be there anymore. So he was looking to get out of there. So good for him. I think he found a good home. I think the Mavs are already contenders, so I think that's going to help them. Help them make their playoff push if that's what's going to happen this year.
Isn't it going to hurt you again that he left?
No, it's not going to hurt me. I'm a Sixers fan, so any weakening of the Nets no longer are. Right. The Nets are no longer important in the East anymore, so that's always a good thing.
But it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt the Nets, right?
It's going to hurt the Nets. Yeah, Kyrie is good. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, that's gonna take away from me. And when he's on, he does have some leadership skills too. So that's one of the things that
are y'all going to win tonight, Aguna?
We'll see. I mean, 7:30. Well, it should be going on right now, right? So We'll see. Hopefully, they can beat the Celtics. The Celtics are the team to beat in the East. So
you're favored by like 5 points, I think.
So,
well, you saw what happened. You saw what happened against. Was it Orlando? Who came back? It was Orlando. We lost Orlando, but you saw what happened to the Knicks. That was very disappointing, by the way. Very disappointing. But we'll see.
Why are you skiing in February?
Where am I skiing? This is Colorado.
No, he said, why are you skiing?
That's when you do it, man.
I mean, this is the season. It's the season, Keith. What are you talking about?
Keith is wasting my time. Aguna, I want to talk about Super Bowl 57. What did you want to say?
Well, so I think it's going to be a good game. I know your cousin Chris and Steven were talking a lot of smack last week, but, honestly, it could go either way, right? But I think with the Eagles defense and the offensive line of the Chiefs, it's going to be one of those things where whoever shows up for that day is going to seize the day. Football is very, it's funny, because even the better team may not win that day depending on how a game flows. But if you look at the team overall, outside of Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, and some of the playmakers on the Chiefs side, you got a lot of playmakers on the Eagles side that, like I said, I think a lot of guys are looking to go out on top. So it's going to be interesting to see how the game plays out. But I think it's going to be an interesting game. The Eagles are still favored by 1 up until, I don't know it may change. The line may change,
1.5, right?
It's 1.5. So it's almost even. It's almost even. Yeah. But it's going to come down to Patrick Mahomes. If he's fully healthy, it's going to be a problem. But if he's still tender on that leg and the Eagles pass rush gets to him, it's going to be a long day for him.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the game. I'm going to watch it at home by myself in solitude.
Thank the Lord he's going to watch it at home because
I'm not going down to Arizona, so I'm going to be at home and I'm going to be praying at home.
I had to know how to place my bet, Aguna. That's why I had to ask you.
I mean, you're going to take KC. It's going to be, I don't know, man. It's going to be tough, man.
I know you worry, but I'm not. You know what? I always go with the best quarterback. You know who the best quarterback is? Hurts. Because
I don't know. I don't know if I agree. I think Patrick. Well, if fully healthy, Patrick Mahomes he's been there, done that. He's a good quarterback. I'm not going to take that away from him. But Hurts, I think, is going to build his legacy.
He has a high ankle sprain. He's not fully healthy. He's not going to be able to get away from
That's
the
going to be tough.
They're going to body slam him.
That's going to be tough. If that's the case, that's going to happen. But I mean, I think you can't never count that guy out. You can't count that guy out.
No, he's the best. He's the best, but he's not the best this week. And you got a better defense than they have a defense. You got better players. I'm not enamored with Kansas City this week at all. I got you winning by 3, which means I'm laying the 1.5. I got you.
Okay.
I got you all large because I'm liking this game. I'm liking this game a lot. I think that Kansas City does not match up with you. You're playing on a neutral field, and that helps. You're not playing in Kansas City. I like it a lot. I like your coach. I know Andy Reid is the best, but you know what? He's getting a little bit old too. And these young guys are coming in and teaching these old guys lessons. So I like y'all a lot.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if y'all don't
All
win.
right. So,
Yeah, Andy Reid has a tendency to outcoach himself and not make adjustments. So it'll be interesting to see if he actually makes adjustments for this call. So for this game. So
It's gonna be fun.
So Aguna, do you want to start out? I want to talk about the President Biden and his State of the Union address.
I do. I can leave one message about that. But I do have to run. But yeah, the State of the Union, unfortunately, has become a clown festival. I wish they would have shown more decorum. I know Biden was, again, the Speaker of the House. It's his prerogative to invite the president to come and speak. So you need to make sure that people have decorum, even if you don't agree with what he's saying. To yell and do all those things, it's a negative reflection of our democracy. So whether or not you think he's lying, whether or not you think whether you agree or disagree, you have to show some decorum in order for the U.S. to look strong. Because that circus that happened with all that, it's not a sporting event. I can see if it was a football game. It's not a football game. State of the Union. You're trying to show that even though that we have different views and opinion, you're still united under the flag of America, right? So I thought it was very in poor taste, and it's just a reflection of McCarthy and how he doesn't have control over his caucus. Because at the end of the day, nobody in his caucus respects him. Marjorie Taylor Greene running around Congress with a balloon and stuff like that. Come on. China's been spying on us forever. So why are you trying to make theatrics out of it, right? So I just think we need to grow up. And I think that the folks in Congress right now need to be less focused on raising money, because that's all it is. It's about raising money, not about legislating, not about passing laws that impact Americans. So I think it's very important that we get back to being adults in the room and not, kowtow to this divisive messaging and politics that we're seeing right now in Congress.
Hey, Aguna, let me ask this question before you go. I want to ask you, Nancy Pelosi, when she ripped up the speech of President Trump after he spoke right in front of the camera, what do you think of that?
That was okay.
Well, see, and then this is very typical, right? So you guys are saying your point is she did something disrespectful, therefore it's okay that other people do it, right? And it's not. It was very subtle. She never interrupted him. She never yelled out anything. Ripping up a speech comparing to calling someone a liar I think is completely different. If the camera wasn't on her, you wouldn't even know. She didn't go up in his face and rip it up in his face. She just ripped it up and walked away, subtle at the end. Never interrupted, listened to everything he had to say, came to the conclusion that she didn't like it and moved on with it. Not yelling liar and doing all this other stuff and dressing like Cruella DeVille and all this other stuff. Come on. It's a false equivalent. And the fact that you would have to pivot to that shows in and of itself the problem with it. Because if you got to point out something from the opposition that they did wrong, therefore it justifies your negative action, that in and of itself shows the weakness of your argument.
Justified anything, Aguna. It didn't justify anything. It's just I didn't hear you say anything when she ripped it up, and you didn't. So that's what all he's saying is.
But at the end of the day, what did it hurt? What did it hurt?
That's not
did it show weakness?
He is the Speaker of the House.
Again,
there's things that he throws out there every now and then, like, oh, I'm gonna do something good for these people. They got diabetes. I'm gonna do something good for them. Watch me. And that's what he does. It's just.
But Stephen, you're not answering. Is it a good idea? Yes or no?
Is it a good idea to make it medicines for people to cost less? What do you think, Aguna? What do you think I'm going to say?
No, answer the question.
Oh, no,
You're worried about the source.
The medicine that I get,
Answer the question.
I want to pay 100 times more than I pay. That's what I want to do, but I don't understand why he picked out
so it's a good idea.
Why doesn't he
so
pick
you're
out
agreeing it's a good idea, so support it.
Why doesn't he pick out something else like people who can't see well or people with
Stephen, you're making my argument for me because, again, you said it's a good idea. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
It's always a good idea to look, but why take the
cool. Let's move on then. It's a good idea. Support it. It's a good idea. Support it. Let's move on.
So
what about
see how that works? See how that works?
To make the Affordable Care Act subsidy support permanent. Is it a good idea to make the Affordable Care Act subsidy support permanent?
So again, it's not, so two things. The fact that you even have to have a subsidy is a problem, right? You're not addressing, it's a symptom of a bigger problem, which is making sure that insurance is affordable for everyone. So the fact that you have to have a subsidy in order to open up healthcare for everyone is what's really at the crux of this issue. So talking about the actual subsidy and supporting that, you're just going to find opposition around how much it costs versus really trying to bring down how much it costs for everyone. So again, it's gonna come into that tit for tat stuff. It's a good idea, but why are you even having to subsidize it to begin with? And we're not addressing that.
Aguna, turn your light on.
Okay.
I can. I'm outside. The sun just set. I do have to go. I do have to go. But you guys take care.
Have fun. Have fun.
You guys take care. Make sure you support the Eagles. Go Birds.
Go Eagles. Fly, Eagle, fly. Fly, Eagle,
fly. Eagles, fly.
All right. Having that subsidy, and then also President Biden said he wants Congress to finish the job by doing that and closing loopholes so that the very wealthy cannot avoid paying their taxes. Should they be doing that, Stephen?
No, they shouldn't be worried about the very wealthy not paying their taxes because they are paying taxes. They don't pay income taxes because most of the very wealthy don't even work for a living, like are very poor. Those people don't pay taxes. The very poor and the very rich don't pay taxes. So I don't know. I think it's just more talking points. And this is what we're going to do. And we're going to go after these billionaires and trillionaires and quadrillionaires and decaдаires or whatever. But they're never going to do anything because those people that he's talking about taxing are the ones that keep him in office, are the ones that are running the show. There's no way he's going to do anything to hurt the people that are doing everything that he's doing everything for. He works for them. He don't work for us. He works for not the working class, the middle class. They don't work for us. The people in charge right now, they don't work for us. Okay. It's just that's it. Nothing's going to change. We'll get taxed more.
Keith?
Yes, I agree. And let me add to it. Every time that you go after the big corporations, the big corporations, what do? Pass it down to us. They cost us more money because we end up paying the bill. We end up paying higher prices. And then they complain that, the big corporations are raising prices. Well, that's because you raise the costs and regulate them.
Yeah.
So, that's the way it works.
And they're going to have record profits because they're going to raise it more than they really have to just to cover themselves. They're going to make sure they make money. And we're not. They're going to make sure. You know what they're doing? They keep dividing the gap between us and them keeps getting bigger. It happened huge during COVID. And that was the whole plan from the beginning for COVID, was to make the rich more rich and us more poor. And that's what they're doing with inflation and everything else. And we ain't seen nothing yet. A lot of people that are not having an issue right now because they're making good money and blah, blah, blah. It's not going to continue like that. If this same pattern keeps going, the people that don't even know what it's like to be poor are going to be poor.
All right. So let me share my screen that I was trying to share before Aguna came on about COVID.
By the way, it feels nice to be not interrupted by these guys. I like it.
Yeah. Well, I have interrupted you a couple of times. I'm sorry.
So this CNBC.com article says the U.S. plans to stop buying COVID shots for the public this fall. Here's what that means for you.
You'll live longer.
The U.S. will transition the federal COVID vaccination program to the private market as soon as the fall. This means Pfizer and Moderna would sell the shots directly to healthcare providers at a higher price.
See,
Americans who have health insurance. Let me bring that down. Okay. Americans who have health insurance, where is that? Okay, will still get their COVID shots for free once the vaccine program goes commercial. But the uninsured may have to pay the full price of the shots after the current federal supply runs out. The federal vaccine program will not be affected by the end of the COVID public health emergency in May. So what that means is if you don't have insurance, right, you may have to pay for the shots full price.
I don't
Keith.
think there. Yeah. I don't think there's going to be a rush to get shots. I really don't. I don't think the people are, not the way it goes now. I mean, call it propaganda or not, but there's so many people that have died, and they die early. A lot of people are dying young. I don't know whether it's because they got shots or not. I don't know, but I just don't think that it's going to be selling on, unless, because if the government couldn't force you to get a shot, then why would you go and get a shot, on your own? If you thought so,
Well, the government wasn't forcing you to go get a shot, but what was happening was, Stephen, that when there was a new variant out, there was a shot available to help protect you, or help you not have such a bad reaction to that variant.
Our
So
government
now you're going to have to either get it through your health care insurance company, or you're going to have to pay for it if you don't have insurance.
Our government made government employees like our military get these shots. They forced them to get these shots, or they kicked them out. They fired them, and they're fighting every day to get what they had back. Nobody should be taking these shots now. There's doctors that were suppressed for 3 years that were not quacks like Fauci and the woman I'm not going to talk about who likes tennis. That because it's not her fault. She was just reading the everything that was coming down her way from the people who made this. Fauci and his group are the ones that they read their journals and everything from, that they were getting their information from, and they believed it. It's not her fault she believed it. It's their fault that they're evil and they're liars. And they created all this to hurt us. If you get the shots, I don't care what anybody says. This is the truth. You get these shots, you're putting your own health at risk. You do not get any more shots. You stop getting shots.
That's not true. And wait a minute.
It's 100% true. Stacey, $1 million is on my side. What you got?
Stephen, for you to say that without any proof,
I got it.
Any legitimate. Okay,
Stacey,
let me see.
For years, they suppressed the doctors on the other side. The doctors who are no longer suppressed are coming out now. And coming out lately, and they're saying this is.
All right, you keep talking over me. You're not going to keep talking over me. That's going to stop. I'm asking you a question to tell me where in the world is the proof that you're saying. Give me a website, text me a website so that I can post it up here for everyone to see. Like I've got this up for everyone to see. Okay, Stephen, go ahead.
Oh, I don't have a website at my fingertips at this point. That's a ridiculous question or a command for me, because of course I don't have a website. But what I am saying is, of course, if I can't help it, if you don't know what the facts are, what the truth is, I can back all of this up, Stacey. The people, they're in court right now.
I've asked you to back it up. I've asked you to back it up.
You're talking over me now. Listen to me. They're in court right now.
Yeah, because you've talked over me 2 or 3 times. So you're not going to talk over me 2 or 3 times, and I not talk over you 2 or 3 times. You can't do anything to me that I don't do back to you. Now, what I was saying was,
can I talk?
You can talk if you bring some facts that I can post so that our viewers can see it.
I have brought facts. What I'm telling you is the
so that I can post so the viewers can see it.
Just because I have a post that the viewers can see does not mean it's not propaganda or fake, because there's plenty of posts that have been on this show that are not true. It's what somebody decided what the truth was. And what they did the whole time was suppress. Twitter is in court right now for suppressing doctors that could have saved lives, hundreds of thousands of lives. But your people on your side and the doctors that you believe, that your doctors, they're the ones who suppressed it. And the FBI went to Twitter and said, do not. Elon Musk bought them, and he saw what they were doing with the FBI and how they were suppressing information. And Google and Facebook. Do you know this, Stacey?
No, I don't know that.
That's your ignorance. It's not my problem.
That's true, but you can't continue to spew things without having something.
I'm not spewing anything. I'm spitting the truth.
Without having something that I can post up here for the viewers
You
to
don't
see
have to have
say
something to post.
what you're saying is the truth. I can't do it anymore, Stephen. That's it.
You
End of that.
you gotta be more informed, Stacy.
Next subject.
You've gotta have proof. Stephen,
I
you
have
can
all
never
the
go
proof.
into a court of
Stacy,
law.
there's nothing I've told you for years that turned out to be wrong. Tell me what it
Stephen,
was.
you can't go into a court of law like this. You couldn't.
You can't go into a court. You can't go into a court of law by putting things up on a thing like you did. What you're asking me to do does not hold up in law in the court of law either.
Okay, so
It's not proof. If I put something up, it doesn't make it proof.
Okay, and what you're saying doesn't make it true.
I'm not saying you have to believe it or you have to think it's true. Stacy, I haven't been wrong yet. This is the truth. This is what they're doing to us in the country.
I don't want to give the viewers the wrong idea. So let's
I'm not giving anybody the wrong idea, just because a lot of the people that are viewing this show might be informed. It doesn't take that much. You don't even know the court cases that are going on right now. I keep up with all this.
Okay, then just send it to me so I can post it on here when you say it.
All right.
That's all.
I shouldn't assume.
It's not rocket science.
I know. I shouldn't assume.
So if you look at this article, I'll start with Keith, the AP, the claim that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is requiring all female student athletes in the state to provide detailed information about their periods in order to compete in organized sports.
Oh.
Now, the AP says that's false. The Florida High School Athletic Association, you see, Keith, you see how you have information that's posted, everyone can see, and the AP is saying, hey, is this true or false? We're going to give you factual information. You see how that works? That's all I'm trying to tell Stephen. This is how this works. We put up factual information, and then we let people decide whatever they want to decide based on what is written in fact.
This is a factual information, Stacy. This is not
The Associated Press.
This isn't
the
politics.
Associated Press put up factual information. They asked a question or they posed a claim. They said Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is requiring all female student athletes in the state to provide detailed information about their periods in order to compete in organized sports. That's the claim.
Amen. That's the truth.
Now they're saying what the assessment by the Associated Press is, that's false. The Florida High School Athletic Association is weighing the recommendation from an advisory committee, but no final decision has been made. DeSantis's education commissioner is a member of the association's board of directors, and the commissioner also appoints 3 others. But the association is a private, nonprofit organization, not a state agency under the purview of the governor's office. Now, these are the facts.
Right.
See how this works, Keith? See how this works?
Who's
Stephen,
fat?
here's the fact. It says social media users are suggesting. Look, social media users are suggesting the conservative Republican governor, who has been an outspoken critic of transgender athletes.
Yeah, we got all that.
Is again, can I read it? Can I read it? Can I read it?
You already did read it.
No, I didn't read this part. Is again using sports to stoke controversy as he weighs a run for president in 2024. They're saying that DeSantis wants female student athletes to submit menstrual information, and a Twitter user said, this is insane. Keith, what do you say based on these facts that you read that are in black and white?
Well, you know, it's really amazing that the way you can tell very subtly the way they wrote that. I mean, they make sure that they say he's a Republican governor. They make sure that he says he's against this or against that. They make sure that to say that he's doing this because of political reasons. They would never write this again, you know, with a Democratic governor. They probably wouldn't even mention the fact that he's Democrat. However, I will comment on what you asked me. If that is true, so what? I mean, you go to get an abortion and you got to do all kinds of, I'm sure there must be all kinds of regulations involved there. So I don't know what the actual truth of what they're saying. I don't even know if they're actually being accurate, because they sound to me like they are biased in the way they wrote that. And I'm sure Stephen agrees with me on that. Just by the article, by the way you read that, they sound to me like they are biased against DeSantis. And what does it have to do with him? If he's running for president, so what? If he, what does that have to do with him running for president? See, listen, look at that. Look at the way it's written.
No,
Okay.
Keith, I think
what said what it has to do with it. But go ahead, Stephen.
So what?
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Go ahead, Stephen.
It's not the fact that he's going to do this, or this is something he planned on doing, and that's the way they initially made it out to be. Like this was something he was planning, it's something he was going to do, but it's not. When they looked a little bit deeper, it was people who were wanting him to do this, because based on the fact that that's how he is, that's how he feels about transgenderism and hurting children and all that stuff. That is something that's plausible. It's something that he would be able to do. That's something that he would maybe do. But but the thought of it itself, I think it's a doggone great idea. But I don't want to do anything.
Why do you think? Why do you think it's a doggone great idea?
Because I think it is, because it would keep the men who don't have a menstrual cycle out of the women's place, which they're trying to do now to destroy the fabric of this country. Now, I'm not saying that I want young girls, women, or anybody else to have to disclose this information to anybody. That's why it's absurd. Nobody would do that. I like the thought of it, because it means there are women and there are men, and they should not be in the ways they are. They should be in the same locker rooms. They should not be playing sports like they are at that age, because it's not fair to women. I am a feminist. I want women to be treated fairly. Women have been knocked down 50 years in the last 3 or 4 years from all this woke garbage that is promoted on this show, that is loved on this show, and it hurts women.
Okay, so I want to ask. Wait, I have a thing. Keith, when's the last time you had sex?
Wow.
Oh, Stacy, you're gonna ask me that? Hey, I'm going to say none of anybody's business.
Oh,
I say
okay.
That. Now,
so when
when
a female athlete in the state of Florida, and she's in a organized sport, has a menstrual cycle, it's nobody's business.
No, but here's the thing, though. You know, when you go get an abortion, I don't know what's all involved, but aren't they also divulging all kinds of information to the doctors and so forth?
That's Stephen.
I don't know.
Stephen,
I don't know.
When's the last time you had sex?
Was someone else? That's myself. And no, I've already said, Stacey, I don't need to be grilled. I've already said I wouldn't ask women anything about their menstrual cycles. I think that's never a good idea to ever do that. But I understand the thought of it. I understand the thought of it, because it's trying to keep men out of there that don't have menstrual cycles.
Wait, let me finish. It's nobody's business but the female athlete and whoever she chooses to share that with, like her parents.
Right. Yeah, we all agree with that.
When nobody would bring a menstrual cycle,
to put that ring around DeSantis' neck.
I'll let you finish. She should not have to report to any type of regulatory body in the state of a schedule of when she has a menstrual cycle each month. That's outrageous. It's beyond insane.
But it doesn't have anything to do with DeSantis.
It smacks in the face of democracy.
I don't know where democracy comes in.
Tell her, Stephen. I mean, you know.
He doesn't know, and neither do you, because you don't even know when the last time you had sex.
No, I don't. I couldn't, Keith, because I was on mute.
Oh, that was good. I didn't know. Because you can't keep talking over me and interrupting me.
No, it's not that I didn't know, Keith. It's that I was on mute. When I was on mute, she said I didn't know. She sounded like a goon a little bit just then.
And you sounded a little bit like Keith the whole time, except when you said it was a woman's right not
Yeah,
to report
and it
her
shouldn't
menstrual
hurt.
cycle. That's
It
the only
shouldn't.
time you sounded like you were saying. That's
Well,
the only
nobody should put albatross around DeSantis's neck because it's nothing he came up with. But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to say this is what he wants to do, and that was the whole point of what Stacey was saying. Keith, is that was fact check basically, and it's nothing that he came up with. It's nothing that he would ever do. He's got children. He's got a wife. I mean, he's not going to make anybody divulge their period. That's ridiculous.
So, Stephen,
Well,
when's the
you
last
don't know
time you
what
had
he's
a vac-
gonna do.
when's
I know
the
what he's going to do. He's a good guy.
when's the last time you and Stacey had a vaccination, had a COVID shot?
Never.
When's the last time you had a COVID shot?
Never.
I mean, think about it.
I had a vaccination in November of 2022.
Well, why is it that if I go to an employer, they ask me that I have to divulge that information?
If you want to get paid by them, if you don't want to get paid by them, you don't have to divulge the information.
Why do you have to get a shot that's experimental and it does no good? And plus, the doctors are proven it does more harm than good, and more people are dying from the shots and the boosters than they are from COVID. Nobody, barely anybody died from COVID.
Here we
who
go.
wasn't
Guess
very
what?
ill anyway.
You're going to get muted. You keep talking stuff with no facts, and I can't put anything up.
I'm telling you the sky is blue, and you say I need to bring facts. I'm telling you the sky is blue.
Yeah.
You have books. You have books behind you, Stacey.
Sure do.
I need to prove it to you that you have books behind you. All you have to do is turn around and look. Just turn around and look. You'll see those books.
Sure do. You sure do. I'm waiting. Come on.
So, Stacey, what is the conclusion about this? Did he actually say that or what? I mean,
no. No, DeSantis, they're trying to hang an albatross around his neck that he never had.
Okay, let me share the screen again.
Well, that doesn't mean that he actually said really.
No,
they twist.
Do that.
I think they're
I'm
twisting.
going to share this screen again.
I think they're twisting this up, Stephen. They're making it up.
Yeah, everybody knows DeSantis.
Claim. Do you see that? It says claim.
Yeah, it's fake.
A claim.
Yeah. It's fake.
Claim. Florida governor is requiring all female student athletes in the state to provide detailed information about their periods in order to compete in organized sports. And then underneath there, it says AP's assessment false.
See, so that's false news. It's
not the governor. But what it is the Florida High School Athletic Association is weighing or considering the recommendation from an advisory committee, but no final decision has been made. But DeSantis, the governor, wait a minute. DeSantis, the governor, his education commissioner, is a member of the association's board, right? The Florida High School Athletic Association board of directors, and the commissioner also appoints 3 others, but the association is a private, nonprofit organization, not a state agency under the purview of the governor's office.
Well.
So there's a relationship there, but it's not a direct relationship between the governor of Florida and this association nonprofit.
Right. Correct. Very good, Stacey.
Right.
Oh, now that I put the facts up, and you don't have any facts to put up.
I don't have to have anything written down.
Yeah, you do.
Right.
You do.
Remember everything I said, and then come back with the apology when you find out I'm right.
You do.
Nothing I said has been a lie. Now I take issue with that. Nothing I said was false tonight. Everything I said was the truth.
No, sorry.
Excuse me.
What did I say that was not true?
Excuse me for a minute. I gotta go for a minute.
What did I say that was not true?
You don't have any facts to back anything up, is what I'm saying.
That doesn't mean what I'm saying is not true. I don't have what you have right there. I don't have that right now. That doesn't mean what I'm saying is untrue.
Okay, so let's go on to I don't think what you're saying is true. To the education, additionally,
Based on what, Stacy? Your
in
opinion or
Florida.
any facts that you have to correlate against me?
I'm showing you all the facts. I'm showing you all the facts on with the articles. National Public Radio, NPR, January 27th, 2023. Critics say Florida aims to rewrite history by rejecting African American studies. Florida's Department of Education, see that? Under the leadership of Republican Governor Ron DeSantis.
God bless him.
Rejected an advanced placement course on African American studies.
Okay.
See how we lay the facts out? See how you see the facts in black and
What
white?
is involved? What is involved with the studies? Because I don't see any facts.
I'm just showing you how we lay the facts out. That's
what?
all.
No, what is involved in the studies? You're not showing me any facts. You're showing me an overview. You're not showing me anything.
You're not showing me anything. The decision is leading to a wave of backlash across the country, from other state lawmakers to labor unions, and even a potential lawsuit.
Come on, bring it.
One governor should not have the power to dictate the facts of U.S. history, says Governor J.B. Pritzker from Illinois. So,
Stacey, I don't know, but I contend that they're changing the real facts to base their narrative off of. I don't think they're telling the truth.
Wait a minute. Florida, read this. Hey, can you read? I just want to know if you can read. Can you read?
I want to shut my eyes.
Can you read, Keith?
Yes.
Florida Department of Education under
Go ahead,
leadership.
read that, Keith. What does that say?
Florida Department of Education under the leadership of Republican Governor Ron DeSantis rejected an advanced placement course on African American studies. The decision is leading to a wave of backlash across the country. But here, if you can tap into that African American studies, what is it? What are those studies? What is involved?
That's what I'm asking her, Keith. She doesn't know. She doesn't have it written down, so she can't.
Right here. I just clicked on it.
So critical race theory. That's not African studies. It's fake. It's false.
So Florida says AP class teaches. No, they're saying this course teaches it.
Right.
And they're saying,
that's what I'm agreeing with you. That's what they're saying.
You just proved that you can't read.
Florida says AP class teaches critical race theory.
Yes.
Here's what's
really important. I haven't read that last line. Okay, that's fine. But
okay, so let's keep going.
There's no reason he would do it unless he has a reason.
2023. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
He would only do it for a reason.
So it says Florida's Department of Education has rejected an advanced placement course covering African American studies, saying the class indoctrinates students to a political agenda.
Okay. Yes.
As submitted, the course is a vehicle for a political agenda and leaves large ambiguous gaps that can be filled with additional ideological material, which we will not allow, which is Governor Ron DeSantis's press secretary. That's what DeSantis is saying.
Yeah, they're worried about PRT.
Let me keep going on with the facts. But scholars who were involved in creating the curriculum say that's far from the truth. There's nothing ideological about the course, except we value the experiences of African people in the United States. The course is the latest addition to the AP program, which helps high school students earn college credit. So Keith, let's go to you. Since you want to talk about Black History Month, let's talk about how this does not help Black History Month.
Well, the thing is, they have to evaluate and once again assess all of the curriculum. So I don't think.
No, that's not what it said. It said it did assess it. See, it said as submitted. Read that. As submitted, the course is a vehicle for a political agenda.
Okay.
It was submitted. It was evaluated.
Okay. Well,
but Governor DeSantis's office doesn't want it to be taught.
Okay. Well, I don't know exactly. I don't know. I haven't looked at it, so I don't know. what it is that they have.
Stacey has to look at it.
Oh yeah, I know.
All I know is he said critical race theory and
No. That's not what it said.
You can't say, Keith, they won't say critical race theory anymore. They changed the wording now on everything else they do. That's what this little piece of fact that Stacey brought is. They're trying to cover their ass. And we know it because we're not stupid. This is what they do. This is what they've been doing. And we have a pattern of them doing this because we're not stupid, are we, Keith? It doesn't matter how much they tell us we're stupid or we can't read or we suck our thumbs or we eat our boogers. We're smart. So they need to stop. They need to stop underestimating us.
Okay. All right, Keith.
Oh boy, I wish
that was hilarious. So Keith, what did you want to say about Black History Month?
Well, just that there was a woman, this has nothing to do with what we were talking about. So it really is just it's just an acknowledgement of the fact that in the 1800s, there were blacks. The main thing I wanted to get out of this was there was a woman. I don't have it in front of me because I'm not looking directly at it. But this woman, or let's just say that blacks in the days when racism was a fact, when racism was blatant, when racism was out in the open, and there were blacks who succeeded, who helped to mold America the way it is. And I think that we should acknowledge that more. But the left, the progressives, they're so busy talking about racism, a false dichotomy of racism today. It's nothing today like it was back then. And yet they claim that they are victims today. And so
I don't know
it's
what
very
you're
hard
talking about, Keith.
Huh?
I mean, Steve, I get you too mixed up. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about, Keith.
Okay, well, let me go to the article. All right. The article itself is very unique. Let's see if I can pull it up here because I can't put it on the screen, Stacey. That's the whole thing. But the name of this person.
Tell me the name of the article. Maybe I can look it up and put it on the screen.
All right. The name of the article is Stagecoach, as in Stagecoach. Stagecoach Mary Fields. You can Google that. Stagecoach Mary Fields.
Okay.
Okay, Mary Fields, standing 6 feet tall and powerful. Many bandits learn to stay clear of Stagecoach Mary. And the reason I wanted to highlight this is because she carried a gun. She carried a rifle and a pistol. And she carried it everywhere, while she was doing a job in riding stagecoaches. And she was a guard. She dealt with security. And that was while the mail was being delivered early at that time. And they learned to stay clear of her. And she was in the old Wild West. And Stagecoach Fields carried a gun, smoked, drank, and had a wicked temper. Mary was the first African-American woman, the first Black woman to carry mail on a star route for the United States Post Office.
Okay.
I think that's pretty awesome. And it shows a picture of her. And so we never get that kind of information out to the people today. So I just wanted to bring that point across. I think it's very important that everybody know, of Mary Fields. And you can look it up for yourselves if you want the details. 1832, she was born into slavery. So she was a slave, former slave in 1832, 33.
Wow. But Keith, nobody was allowed to work or do anything or make anything of themselves. They couldn't do anything. Remember?
I found the picture of her, but I didn't find
people are still not allowed to work.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? So
yeah, people are not allowed to be in Congress or run for president if they're of color.
Okay, I guess he's playing games, but I found the picture of Stagecoach Mary. That's who you're referring to, correct?
Look at that. Yeah, look at that long rifle. Awesome.
She looks like Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, she does. She does.
Mary Fields, better known as Stagecoach Mary.
But Tubman, she carried guns too, Keith.
Yeah.
Yep. These are strong women that we love, that we admire.
Yes.
And that right, Keith. Absolutely. Yes. They are. I wish we could be as tough as them. I don't think either one of us is tough as they were.
I agree.
Risking their lives the way they did. And Harriet Tubman, she did it over and over and over again. And you know, they say you're supposed to do good when you do good for others. You know that I can't say everybody I know that's in heaven, but I know she's in heaven for what she did and saved all the people that she saved. Absolute 100%.
It's like my grandmother used to say. She used to say, "Black is the ace of spades," and she was. That's what my grandmother used to say. My grandmother was dark skinned.
Hey, when I was a little kid, I was in a gang and it was 4 of us, and I was the ace of spades.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to switch to the. I'm going to switch to this. Let me stop sharing this and share another screen.
Todd would love this.
Where is Todd? I miss Todd. Todd, we need you.
Rep Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Carrying a balloon.
Right?
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Carrying a balloon to mock Biden's China response. She has to do something with all that hot air Bonnie Watson Coleman from New Jersey quipped about Greene.
That's awesome.
You know, what was so horrible about what happened with China was that there was a balloon that the president knocked down over the coast of South Carolina, East Coast United States. It started out days earlier over Alaska and the West Coast and slowly made its way across the continental United States. And we shot it down over the coast of South Carolina and then got all the rubble out. But what's important is, why is China sending a spy balloon over the continental United States so blatantly and openly? Stephen? Can you include some facts with this?
Yeah, just to humiliate us. That's the only reason they did it. That's my opinion. I don't have facts on this. I have facts on the other stuff that will be proven true as everything else I've ever said on this show. But they did it just to humiliate us because they spy on us constantly in a million different ways, in a billion different ways. We can't get away from the way they spy on us. They are our enemy. And they're doing this to show the entire world and to show us citizens, you and me, that it doesn't matter what they do. They can do anything I want. And our feckless little punk president and our government is not going to do anything about it. We are China's biatch. And that's where we sit right now. And that ought to terrify everybody. For them to do what they did and for us not to take it down at the very beginning of it is ridiculous. For them to let them go through our whole country like this, it's like they flew a fighter jet or something over us in our air and was like giving us the middle finger, and that's what it is. That's what happened to us with China because we're so weak right now with Biden. Trump, with all his faults, and I'm mad at Trump again. So I'm not like a sycophant for Trump, but with all his faults, he made sure that other countries would not do this to us. None of this garbage, a war, and then China doing the stuff they're doing to us, none of that would have happened under Trump because they were petrified of him. And everybody just laughs at the flatulence that comes out of the White House right now. It's pathetic. Okay,
so if you look at the screen, and I don't know, Keith must have gotten disconnected. If you look at the screen, you see this is a part of United States recovery of the spy balloon. We're getting all of it out of the water, off of the coast of South Carolina.
I thought it was like George Washington and them going across the Potomac at first when you put it up here because my screen's kind of little. But that don't look like much of a boat. It doesn't look like much of anything. I don't know.
So according to this, all right, okay, we got Keith back. According to this NBC News report, it says U.S. military officials have said they wanted to study the 200-foot balloon that flew 60,000 feet in the air to get a better idea of its surveillance abilities, and were skeptical the Chinese government was able to gather any information it didn't already have. They also said they didn't want to shoot it down when it was over the U.S. mainland for fear it could cause injuries and property damage on the ground. The military was continuing to retrieve pieces of the balloon and its approximately 2,000-pound payload. You see that picture? 2,000-pound payload. That's 2,000-pound payload from the Atlantic Ocean yesterday. It was brought down 6 miles off the coast of South Carolina on Saturday by a missile fired from an F-22 Raptor.
Question.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Keith.
please,
What?
Keith.
How much land space is over Alaska? In
A
other words,
lot.
coming over Alaska. How many people are in Alaska? How many civil? How
What's
much?
your point? I don't know. What's your point?
Well,
You
the
take
point
it
is,
down.
yeah, thank you. The point is obvious. They could have shot it down over Alaska, and there's hardly anybody in Alaska.
Or before it got to Alaska, they knew about it then. They've known about it. They knew it was what was happening.
First off, if they had shot it down, let me ask you this, Keith. If they had shot it down over Alaska, would they have known the intent of the Chinese military? Because the Chinese military said, hey, we have this, I don't know, it's a weather balloon and we kind of lost track of it and it's been floating all over the place. When it was over Alaska, we didn't know it was coming over the continental United States until it did.
We did. Alaska, they came into our territory, Stacy. They can't do that. When they do that with anything else, we're going to shoot it down. What they could have done is pop the balloon maybe, or maybe they could have caught it. Maybe they could have done something. But they need to eradicate that problem because we don't need that going over sensitive areas of this country. And that's what it did. We can't have that. Montana is where we have all nukes and all kinds of stuff and new things that people don't know about. That's why they did it. We can't have them doing it. We had to take it down when we knew about it, and they knew about it. It's just some guy, a weatherman or a reporter or somebody in Montana happened to see it, and then he put it online, and then people started seeing it. The government didn't even tell us. They weren't even going to tell us because the China is we're in their back pocket.
So wait, how can we? Let me ask you this: how can we be in their back pocket when?
Because your president is compromised. The president is compromised.
They said
and
that
is
President
a
Trump.
fact.
They said
That's
talking about Hunter Biden's laptop again, Aguna.
Stacey, do you know anything about it? That proves that they're compromised to China. Stacey, that laptop proves that the president is compromised to China.
My gosh.
Do you not know that?
It does not, because we have an official, well, not an official, but let me share this screen. This person says there are very high odds of war with China, a U.S. Republican warns. Michael McCall, the new chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee in the U.S. House of Representatives, says conflict with China over Taiwan may happen in 2025. Now, how could that happen if what you just said is true, Stephen?
So that was one Republican that said that. So you put this thing up here that's written, and we're going to take this to court, and it's going to prove something. I don't know what this proves. It proves one U.S. Republican warns very high odds of war in China by 2025. Who cares what that?
So you just said Biden was in the pocket of the Chinese.
It's been proven.
Said, right?
It's already
proven.
That
what you just said?
Hello? He is. Yes, they working together.
If he's in the pocket, then he wouldn't go to war with them.
One Republican is saying they're going to war with China. Nobody's going to war with China. Stacey, we don't have to go to war with China when our president is compromised.
Excuse me.
He will just let them
in. One person saying all the stuff you're saying. And you're
Stacey, I haven't been wrong yet. Stacey, if I was wrong every time I open my mouth, I would never open my mouth. I haven't been wrong, Stacey.
Well, see, that's been the problem.
Everything I've said has been proven to be correct.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, it has.
No.
Absolutely, it has. Yes, absolutely it has. You just don't know. You don't know what I know, and that's because you don't educate yourself. You're not going out looking at facts. You're looking at stupid little things like this, and you think that's where you get information. Oh, the Hill says this, or this says here. That's propaganda, Stacey. You're not looking for the real truth.
Okay, all right. We're going to start a roundtable. We're out of time. Keith isn't here, so I guess I'll go on to starting the roundtable with you, Stephen. I don't think I want to talk anymore. I don't think we want to talk anymore about China and the spy balloon. So I want to talk again about something very important: homelessness in America, and what we as a people can do, as Americans can do to, make it so that those people who are homeless have a choice and choose not to be homeless and have some place to live. Stephen.
Well, is it the government's responsibility to take the homeless that are there to try to get them something? Is that what we're going to do?
Because I never said that. That's not what I'm saying.
No, that's what I'm asking. Is that what we should do?
We as Americans have to come up with some sort of solution to give ideas and options to people who are homeless so they can choose where they can live.
And there's people that don't want to be homeless. I understand that. And if they don't want to be homeless, do we just make it so they're not homeless like we do people coming up from our southern border and we're giving them $500, $1,000 a night hotels in New York, and then they don't want to get out? Do you know about that? Because they're going to have to go to a homeless shelter, and they don't want to do that. They came into this country illegally. They're in a $500 to $1,000 motel or hotel, and they complain when they're going to get kicked out because the hotel's tired of not making any money. Stacey, who are we?
We were talking about American homeless, and you went.
We're going to have more American homeless because we're letting in 1 million or more people through our southern border. That's going to increase homelessness throughout this country. We haven't seen anything yet, Stacey. These are facts. These are facts that are easily looked up. There's people, our borders are completely open. It hadn't been like this in 40 or 50 years, Stacey. We can't afford this in this country. There's people coming straight through the border, and it's going to make homelessness everywhere in this country worse. Why aren't we doing anything about shutting down the border? We're not. Donald Trump did for all his faults, and I hate him for a lot of things.
You just did a big disservice to people who need homes by hijacking my point and not trying to think about a solution.
The disservice was done when they opened up the border, and these people that are homeless,
to give American homeless.
The American homeless are not going to have a chance now because the South American homeless are going to wipe them out.
But no, thank you, Stephen. Go ahead, Keith.
Well, you're going to get mad at me too, because I'm going to say the same thing that Stephen just said.
All right, we're out of time.
She just turned around and looked at her books to see if they were really there.
Go ahead, Keith.
I'm just saying that, the solution to homelessness, one solution. I mean, there's all kinds of people that will offer a solution, but nobody seems to have the courage, the moral courage to do it. Like I said, we've got to deal with the border. That is a part of a solution of the homeless, because like Stephen said, you can face it or not, but people who are coming over the border, now what's happening to those people? They're poor people. Most of the people coming on the border are poor. You see the thousands of them lined up on the outside of the border. They're poor, so they want a better life. Okay, they come in and they go into the interior, and then what? Do they get jobs? Do they get homes? Do they buy a house? Do they get an apartment? I mean, no, a lot of them do, but a lot of them don't. Some don't. Okay, maybe more people get homes and get places to live than people who don't. But those who don't end up homeless. Okay, or it could be a cause of taking resources away from those Americans who are becoming homeless. See, we need the resources, but they're taking resources away. So that has to be part of the problem, because we're allowing so many people into the country illegally. That has to be part of the problem. I just said part of it. Now, another thing, the only thing I can do is basically pray for them, and I can help those who I can help by maybe giving them a handout. But what good would that do for tomorrow or the next day or the next day? So best thing I can do is give them Jesus. I'm going to be able to preach the gospel to them. I will talk to them about the Lord and his salvation, his plan. And hopefully that will get them into a mindset where God can help them. That's the best thing. So I'm answering your question.
All right. Thank you to our first responders in our community, in our communities. Thank you. You make our lives livable. To the women and men of the U.S. military for all that you do and sacrificing your lives so that we are free to say whatever we choose on this show. We are forever, forever, forever indebted. On behalf of Aguna, the Nigerian moderate Republican, Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker, and my cousin Todd, I'm Stacy Johnson. Let's keep this conversation going on Instagram. Check us out. Like and subscribe to us on YouTube at Sporlitics. Check out our Instagram page. Check us out on Twitter, Twitch, and Stephanie Stallworth's The Flow Television Network. We'll see you next week. Good night.